No data, no problem. Zabu allows you to buy or sell securities on the Altex exchange from anywhere in Uganda via USSD. Step 1. To buy, dial *292#. Step 2. Select buy. Step 3. Select the product you would like to buy. For example, bonds. Step 4. Select your preferred maturity year. Step 5. Select the bond you would like to buy. Step 6. Input an amount of 15,000 Ugandan shillings or more. Step 7. Your order has been forwarded for processing. And finally, Step 8. Your order has been confirmed.
All right, we'll be back from the break. We are now joined by another guest this particular morning, and of course our conversations are definitely going to be rotating still around the same matter to do with the land issues, land wrangles and everything. The guest that is joining us here to make it let's say a conversation of three people is Aloysius Gonza, who's the president institution of surveyors. Good morning, Mr. Aloysius. Many thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Mr. Sonko. I'm glad to be here. My name is Aloysius Gonza.
Okay.
Like you have indicated, I'm glad to be here and to contribute this conversation.
All right. I think I'll start again with you with this kind of conversation. I was telling Mukisa here that we shall be looking at what are some of those issues that you people are facing behind closed doors that not everyone has access to or anyone would easily know at the end of it all. So to the viewers out there, what normally happens behind your profession, or what are those setbacks that the viewers really need to know?
Thank you, Mr. Songa. One of the major setbacks that we've been having as a profession,
yes,
I would think the major one, yes. I will begin, there are many, but the major one is we've had a lot of instances where some of our colleagues have been beaten up in the field. You have had issues of land surveyors being beaten up or surveyors being beaten up when they are doing their work. Generally, it is increasingly becoming risky to do any work in terms of either boundary opening or survey or any other work, inspection for a property, whatever it is that a person wants to do. And it's because of the tensions that we have developed in land generally, in management of land. You have a lot of tensions between landowners and the manager holders, or in some circumstances, landlords and tenants. And those tensions are tending to build up and also affecting the professions as well. So you'll find I diligently come, I have instructions to come and do the work, but probably because sometimes there is not sufficient preparation by some of our members when they are coming to do this work, you'll find on the ground they are either being beaten up or they are being chased away from doing the work on the ground. So it becomes a challenge. But the other ones that we can highlight is we have a regulatory framework that is quite old as surveyors. Why it's old is that we have a lot of things that have changed. The technology has changed. We are now doing work in a much digital way. We are in a digital environment that we are talking about.
Yes.
People can survey using drones. Currently, as we are speaking, you can have a drone. You know, you are familiar with drones.
Yes.
Someone can.
But if you're, the land issues in Buganda region per se, surveying with a drone, won't it be a little risky?
They are different. I would say. Surveying has different components. Okay. If you are surveying for purposes of creating a title, you may not use a drone.
Okay.
But if I'm surveying for purposes of government doing an acquisition of land, say for example, or they want to know the nature of tenure, the nature of environment in an area, to give insight into some further development or feasibility study, then I may not need to do person by person. I may need to fly out on the ground. I see to what extent has the changes taken place. Probably I'm comparing timelines and I'm looking at it. So what is happening now is that some of these technologies are not being provided for by the law that we currently have. We have a Survey Act of 1934. That's quite old. We have a Registration Act, Survey Registration Act, which is of 1974. That's also quite old. Our numbers have grown as practitioners. We have a lot of unethical conduct, which members or people also are alluding to us, where we need to be a little bit strong on some of these unethical conducts. But you'll find that the law in its current context has not been very aggressive in bringing out some of these issues. Or even when you want to hold out on some of the people who are practicing irregularly, we call quack surveyors. We have some people who can call quack surveyors. These are people who are not yet registered to practice but they are out there holding out as surveyors. Sometimes they receive money from clients, and when they receive this money from the clients, they are not delivering the service expectation that client has. So when you have this client coming to complain about the person that has done the survey for them, you ask the minimum question: do you have the office address of this person? The client doesn't have. Do you have a receipt from this person that shows that you received the money from this person, or you gave the money to this person? There is nothing. So in terms of even a contractual obligation, there is no information between these two people. But also, this person is not in our database as the Institution of Surveyors of Uganda. So even regulating such a person becomes a little bit of a challenge. So these are some of the challenges that we are experiencing. But we thank opportunities like these ones with Smart TV, Smart 25, and most of the colleagues that are there in the fraternity, that give the general public a platform to get this information so that they can be able to get more sensitized. When you are engaging a surveyor, try to take an interest in knowing who the surveyor you are engaging is, how do they practice, are they licensed to practice. Every surveyor in Uganda is supposed to have a license to practice annually. So ask whether the person has a license to practice. If they don't have a license, or they are what you would call a junior surveyor, let them tell you who is their supervisor. Because they are supposed to be practicing under registered what? And registered surveyor. So ask who is the supervisor. Try to talk to the supervisor so that you are sure that the person I'm using or I'm working with, one, is having the necessary qualifications to do this work. If he doesn't, or is being supervised by someone who is competent to supervise this work. So that helps you to avoid issues of maybe they've subdivided, because I've had such challenges. A surveyor subdivided and left out a portion of my land, and they get their own title.
Okay.
You will hear challenges I paid the money, it's now 2 years, I've never received the what? I've never received my title. What is happening? 3 years down the road, I paid my money, I've never received my title. Probably I've used the wrong what? The wrong person. But also, there are other stakeholders in this exercise, and probably the other stakeholder is government. Government also is doing a lot of activities to improve some of these things. So as the institution, as a profession, we are engaging the Ministry of Lands, we are engaging several stakeholders, development partners, to see how can we improve generally land tenure security in Uganda. Because if you have tenure security, then you can do investment goals that are a little bit strong. You can't build a building of, say, 200 million on land which you know that you don't have a title. Even if you assume Mr. Sonko, can't you pay 200 million when you can't see a title? Okay. It will be very risky as a person, and you can't put in your money at that individual level.
Well, when you speak about the Ministry of Lands, I wanted to ask, how helpful have they been for you people as the representatives of them on ground?
As an institution, I would say the ministry so far has been helpful. Currently, we are developing what you would call the Evaluation Act. The Evaluation Act will regulate who is supposed to do evaluation in Uganda, who is supposed to be a valuer by definition, who can conduct evaluation in Uganda. So there is already a bill, a draft that is currently being discussed between the Minister of Lands and the Minister of Justice through the First Parliamentary Council. We also have the Ministry supporting the creation of national evaluation standards in Uganda. The Survey Act that I was talking about, which was of 1934, government has already taken on an initiative. An issues paper is being developed by Ministry of Lands to kind of review what are the issues in land surveying generally that needs to be reviewed and that needs regulation currently as per the times that we are living in. So we are having this conversation with the Minister, and the Minister has taken a positive role in helping us come with these resolutions. I think as stakeholders, what we are working with or towards is to see that the government can a little bit fast track. Because the Survey Act, for example, the discussion started in 2012, but up to date we don't have a draft bill, which I think we can work better, we can be a little bit faster on that, and we have a draft bill that we can put before the cabinet and probably before parliament, and then we have a new law that can regulate us. If we don't regulate land professionals and probably the management of land generally, because we have the Land Act, but the Land Act is talking about the general practice of land and the registrations of land in the Registration Act. It's talking about the relationships between the landlord and and the tenants and the like. But these issues of the practitioners who are actually conducting this work, if we don't regulate them and the practice that they are doing, then we get challenges at the end of the At the end of the day.
All right, Joel, let me get back to you here before we sum up with the issues that you people are facing in the sector here. What others have not been mentioned that you think are also part?
In my profession, I think one that has not been mentioned is there is a shortage or outdated guiding data.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are areas that were originally swamps, but currently they are not.
Okay.
Yeah, and then professionally you're not meant to process a land title in certain areas.
Those ones are protected by NEMA.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. So there's that challenge of lack of all outdated guiding data. Yeah, so you may find that I may process a land title around Kanyanya, which is entirely dry now.
Yes.
But initially it was a swamp. Yes, that is one of the huge challenges I see that we face.
And let's get to what are the most frequently asked questions that the people who intend to buy property or land ask from you, for example, starting from your side?
I have not understood that question.
No, more like if I want to buy land, there are always those frequent questions people normally come through to ask the stakeholders who are practically in there. What are some of those that you have off head and you remember so well that these are some of the the insecurities that Ugandans have before they even assign to any kind of agreement?
That one, I think my senior can help me with.
Are there any questions that people normally ask frequently?
There are frequently asked questions, I would say. In a number of cases,
yes,
most of the people are more worried about, one, the type of land that they are buying.
Okay.
Is it titled land or not titled land? If it's titled, I would say it's a little bit easier. If it's not titled, it becomes a little bit more challenging for a buyer. And that's why people are interested in. If it's untitled land, then chances are high that the due diligence is going to be a little bit much more difficult as a person who is buying the land,
okay,
if there is no title. Because then you are relying on the broker that has indicated to you that this land exists, but also you are relying on the information that you are getting on the village. You cannot reliably say that this land is for Sonko. Sonko could be here in TV right now at the show, but when his parcel of land, which is entitled somewhere, is being sold,
okay,
or someone is actually, when he has no idea that his portion of land is being sold. And therefore, by the time we come out of this show, you get a call, or you've been receiving a call and you have not been picking, and they are telling you someone has actually been inspecting your property here. So it becomes a little bit of a challenge for untitled land, and that's where, if it's untitled land, it becomes a little bit of a challenge to do a due diligence. But most people are interested in due diligence. You want to do due diligence on the land, so they're interested on who is selling this land, probably getting to know the right person. We have a lot of forgeries that are occurring. So you may find that even the photocopy of title that you are looking at is from NASA Road. Those circumstances have happened. Therefore, you want to do some bit of title searches. You do a title search on the land, check with Ministry of Lands and say, okay, does actually Ministry of Land has this copy of land or this copy of title? You check it out. Is it there in your check sense? So that's a question that someone wants to ask, and those are the things they ask. So you go there, confirm. If Ministry of Lands confirms that, okay, this is the Sonko's land. This question could be that, am I actually dealing with the genuine Sonko? Is this actually the Sonko that is supposed to be dealing with me or not? Okay. That's a person is always interested in that. So information in terms of national ID, now we have national IDs, which are quite better. Previously, without national IDs, people would forge identification information. So now, if someone is interested in looking at your national ID and confirming that the names as they are in the national ID are the same way they are in the copy of title that you are presenting as the owner of the land. But also, we have circumstances where what people are selling in terms of the title is not what is on ground. While the title is indicating 40 decimals, or let me say 100 by 100, on ground you only have a 50 by 100. Okay. You get. So someone is interested in confirming the acreage that are being sold. Is it actually the true acreage on ground? Even before you reach there, the location that I'm being shown on the ground, is it the location that I have in the title deed that I'm being presented to? Because you could be given a title deed or a title, and you are being shown an area that is, while we are standing here, the title is actually pointing at golf course opposite the road. But for you, you are being shown where? Here, and you are being told this is where you are buying. Probably the opposite side on golf course is a swamp. That's where the plot is.
Let's have a look at recovery. I have bought my piece of land and I've lost it. I have a land title. You've mentioned NASA. NASA is renowned for all these documents and everything, making documents look real and not real at times. Now, in cases whereby we are 4 people owning the same piece of land, because maybe we've used different brokers per se, it's not the case. It's just a case scenario that I'm just using as an example here.
Yes, please.
How do I recover? Are there chances of me recovering my money, or should I just look at it as a gone case now?
There are modifications that are being done, I would say. In terms of the law, I'll just refer to a recent case. There's a recent case of May that has been decided by court. Not to take a lot of time, but to just put it in a little bit of a summary for that case.
Yes.
It's a case where you have 2 title deeds, 2 titles on the same piece of land. And these 2 titles, one is processed around 2000, that's around 1999, and one is processed around 2007.
Okay.
Both, when you do title search on them, you will get them in the Ministry of Lands. You get the point?
I am.
Now, the second person processed a title, meaning when the other person had already processed a what? A title. The second person went and borrowed on this title that they had processed. The first loan was paid, the second loan wasn't paid. So the financial institution was coming to foreclose on this land. But in foreclosing on this land, they realized that the person who was there also had a what?
A title.
Had a title. And also that title, when they searched it in Ministry of Lands, it was also genuine. It was there. So the question is, you, the owner of the land, what happened? In that case, they went full-blown legal, and that's the decision of the court was that the title that had been issued earlier, first in time, was the one that was genuine. The one that had been processed in 2007 was genuine. But also, there was circumstantial evidence that the person who had bought later, one had never taken possession. There were tenement buildings on the ground where there were tenants. This person had never collected any rent from the building. So the judge held the person liable that you can't buy something and then you're not even interested in the rent that is coming out of it. It means that you must have known that this land was not what? Was not yours. And that was the basis of the conclusion. But the question, to go back to the question you were asking, the issue is that if you are buying, and that's the importance of this show, and several other shows towards its necessary. If you are buying, take some due diligence when you are buying. There is information which can be apparent to you when you are buying. So if you find a development there, try to ask the people within the development if indeed they are aware about the sale, or if indeed they are selling. Because you can go and buy when actually the owner of the property is the one sleeping there. But for you are buying from a different what?
Person.
A different person.
Then
Then when after buying you are telling the person to go out and the person is actually giving you proper evidence that they have been staying there for the last 20 or 30 years.
And you're saying you bought the property.
And you are saying you bought.
Where you bought
So
the
he's
property.
wondering where did you buy the property? They got the LC. Probably the LC, some LCs are not authentic or are not genuine. These circumstances have happened. And probably the LC misled you. But may also have dealt with a fake LC.
Okay. All those are case scenarios that can happen anyways. As we're now summing up with our conversations, our dear viewers, I'll start with Mukisa. Joel, your parting shots, which also includes recommendations that you could give to anyone out there who wants to buy property in the country.
First and foremost, I would suggest that they work with professionals. There is a website, if you're looking for genuine surveyors, there's a website which is srb.go.ug. There's a tab or a button that says verify a surveyor. You can just enter any name. You can enter Sonko, and then they'll give you a list of surveyors who are called Sonko, genuine ones.
Okay.
Yes. Then the other recommendation I would say is that be very keen on what your surveyor tells you in most cases, because they are the ones who understand the extent of your land.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Because even after 10 years, they're the ones going to tell you, no, your property is this much.
All right.
Yes.
And then lastly, Mr. Aloysius Gonza, your parting shots, including the recommendations you would give to the viewers.
Thank you again very much, Mr. Sonko, and the management of Smart TV.
Okay.
As a parting shot, as the institution of surveyors and as Surveyors Registration Board, we are there to help the public get confidence in the work that we are doing as surveyors and as professionals. So as a professional, I will obviously be in line with my colleague and also recommend that it is important that individuals work with professionals. But also, you are putting in your money. One of the things that are hard to actually get is land. Buildings tends to be easier because you can put there one trip, 2 trips, you can buy two bags of cement and you continue. It's small money, you can do development. But to buy land, you need some substantial money at a single go. So if you are going to put in your 10, 15 million, it doesn't cost much to put in $1 million or 2 million to do some due diligence and perfection. If you do diligence and you get a due diligence report from a professional, if things go sideways, you can come back to the professional for misguiding you and probably take them on for misguiding. Some professionals have what we call a professional indemnity that is intended to protect clients from their own negligence. So if you worked with a professional that has a professional indemnity, probably if they misguide you, you can go to the insurance firm and claim the way you can claim for third party if someone knocked you or knocked something of that sort. So we also have what we call professional indemnity, that is an insurance policy that is there to protect clients whom you are providing guidance and advice. So I would still engage our clients and everyone that is listening out to this program, that let's engage professionals, let's work with professionals. Let's not just push in our money when we have not done the necessary due diligence. Let's also engage all the stakeholders that are involved to help us improve how this work is being done as professionals and also you as a general public. That's the only way we can reduce on the fraud that is in the land sector that we all talk about.
All right, now the issues of land matters in the country continue to be a very huge one, by the way, and a very huge concern. I've had 2 guests this morning, Mukisa Joel and Aloysius Gonza, and we're discussing issues to do with land surveying and land matters in the country. I want to believe that at least you've picked up 1 or 2 things here and there in regards to how you can access land rightfully. And as we come into the end of Smart Means Business this morning, remember to grow your investments with the ZAB platform. Use the USSD code *292# to kickstart off your investment and you'll be able to invest in government bonds and other securities. Once you're done with registering using your NIN, and the next 24 hours you can easily invest with just a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings. The markets on the Zabo platform open at 8:15 a.m. to 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time from Monday to Friday. You should as well note that these markets are fully closed during the weekends and on public holidays. Zabo says my money, my future, and it is powered by Altex East Africa, which says do something new. Of course, the show kick-started off from 6:30 a.m. with Andrew Barije, and now we are coming to the end of it. We've got 7 minutes to the top of the hour. Coming up shortly is Financial Markets with Anthony Sebale. Please remember to download the Smart Digital app and be able to stream Smart 24 television wherever you are. And of course, also Smart FM, listen to Smart FM as well as NBS Codeo for all of you who wants to know everything happening from the eastern part of Uganda and as well in regards to the local news perspective in the country. Our website is www.smart24.tv/news. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko. I wish you all the best for your day today. Good morning.
I'm a manager of Manyakabi Area Cooperative Enterprise. It was formulated way back in 2004. We are mainly